She stood in the empty conference room, staring at the envelope in her hand. Her assistant had found it on her desk that morning. No return address. No name. Just 2 words written in careful, shaking handwriting. For forgiveness. Inside was a check. Not for hundreds. Not for thousands. For everything. Her hands wouldn't stop trembling. She hadn't seen him in 3 years. Not since the night she'd had him escorted out of the building. Not since she'd made the call that ended his employment after 22 years of service. She told herself it was policy. She told herself it was necessary. But she never told herself it was right. And now this. A check that represented more money than most people saw in a lifetime. Written to her. From a man who mopped floors for a living. Or used to. That was the moment everything began to unravel. This is a Tales of the Fireplace story, for anyone who's ever realized too late that they misjudged someone who mattered. If you're new here, take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Before we continue, tell me in the comments, have you ever had to face someone you wronged? Years later? What did you do? Now let's go back. Back to where it started. Her name was Claire Donovan. She became CEO of Garrison Industries at 39, youngest in the company's history. She got there by being sharp, fast, and unsentimental. She didn't apologize for her decisions. She didn't second-guess. Every morning, she arrived at 6:15 a.m., reviewed financials in silence, and began her day before most of the building had power. Her office was pristine. No photos. No plants. Just glass, steel, and quarterly projections. People respected her. Few liked her. She told herself that was fine. His name was Martin Hayes. He'd been with Garrison Industries since he was 24. Started in the mailroom. Moved to custodial when his knees gave out. He worked the night shift, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., 5 days a week, sometimes 6 when they needed him. Martin didn't mind the quiet. Didn't mind the solitude. He mopped floors, emptied trash, wiped down desks people would dirty again by noon. He knew the building better than anyone. He also knew something else. He knew people left pieces of themselves behind when they thought no one was looking. Their worlds didn't overlap. Claire left before Martin arrived. Martin clocked out before Claire returned. For years, they existed in the same space, but never the same time. Until the night, everything changed. It was a Friday in late November. Claire had stayed late to finish a presentation for the board. The office was dark except for her corner suite. She didn't hear him come in. Martin pushed his cart quietly down the hall, the way he always did. He saw the light under her door and hesitated. Protocol said, "Don't disturb executives after hours." But something made him stop. He knocked. Gentle. Twice. "Come in," she said, not looking up. Martin opened the door halfway. "Evening, ma'am. Just checking if you need the trash." "Leave it." Her tone wasn't rude. Just absent. He nodded. Started to leave. Then he saw it. On the corner of her desk. A framed photo, face down. Next to it, a half-empty glass and red-rimmed eyes she was trying to hide. Martin paused. "You all right, ma'am?" She looked up. Really looked at him for the first time. "I'm fine." "Okay." He didn't move. She exhaled. "It's been a long day." "Yes, ma'am." Silence. Then she said something she didn't plan to say. "My father died a year ago today." Martin's expression softened. "I'm sorry. He built this company, and I'm dismantling it piece by piece to keep it alive." She laughed bitterly. "He'd hate what I've become." Martin didn't offer platitudes. He just said, quietly, "Maybe he'd be proud you're still fighting." She blinked. He nodded once, then left. Claire sat in the silence he left behind. And for the first time in months, she didn't feel entirely alone. After that night, something shifted. Claire started staying later. Martin started arriving earlier. They'd exchange a few words. Nothing deep. Just present. He'd bring her coffee from the break room. Black. No sugar, the way she liked it. She'd leave post-it notes on clean desks with dry jokes. He'd smile when he found them. One night, she asked him about his life. He told her about his daughter. How she'd just started nursing school. How proud he was, even though tuition was brutal. "You're doing it alone?" Claire asked. "Her mother passed when she was 6. "I'm sorry." "It's all right. We made it work." Claire studied him. "You're a good father." Martin smiled. "I try." She envied that. The simplicity of knowing your purpose. Then came the incident. An internal audit flagged a missing $4,200 from petty cash. Security footage showed Martin's cart near the office where the lockbox was kept. Claire was called in. The VP of operations wanted him fired immediately. He's been here over 20 years, Claire said. Which makes it worse. He knew better. There's no proof he took it. There's no proof he didn't. Claire felt the room closing in. She thought of her father, of all the cuts she'd had to make, of how tired she was of being the one who decided who stayed and who went. She looked at the file. She looked at the VP. And she made the call. Let him go. Martin didn't fight it. He turned in his keys, cleared out his locker. Claire watched from her office window as he walked to his car in the rain. She told herself it was the right call. She told herself she had no choice. But she couldn't stop watching until his taillights disappeared. 3 years passed. Claire's career soared. Garrison Industries went public. She became one of the most celebrated CEOs in the state. She was profiled in magazines, invited to panels, celebrated for her bold decision-making. But at night, in her immaculate apartment, she was alone. No photos on the wall. No one to call. Just success. Cold and complete. Then the envelope arrived. Her assistant brought it in, confused. This was on your desk this morning. I don't know how it got past security. Claire opened it. Inside, a check for $4,200. And a handwritten note. Ms. Donovan, I never took that money. But I also never fought to prove I didn't. I was tired. And maybe I thought you'd already made up your mind. A few months after I left, my daughter finished nursing school. Last year, she started working at a hospital in Denver. She's brilliant. She's kind. She's everything I hoped she'd be. I wanted you to know. I'm okay. I also wanted you to know I forgive you. This is the amount they said was missing. I've been saving it for 3 years. It's not about the money. It's about clearing both our names. I hope you're well. Martin Hayes. Claire sat frozen. Her throat tightened. Her eyes burned. She hadn't cried in years. But now, she couldn't stop. She tried to find him. Called HR. They had no forwarding address. Searched online. Nothing. She even drove to his old apartment. New tenants. Gone. For weeks, she carried the note with her. Read it on planes. In meetings. Late at night. I forgive you. For words that broke her. Because she'd never forgiven herself. One night, she stood in front of her bathroom mirror and said it out loud. I was wrong. It didn't make her feel better. It made her feel human. She made a decision. She opened her laptop and drafted an email to the entire company. Subject, a correction long overdue. 3 years ago, I authorized the termination of a custodial employee based on incomplete evidence. I was wrong. That man's name was Martin Hayes, and he deserved better. If anyone knows how to reach him, please forward this message. I owe him an apology. Claire Donovan, CEO. She hovered over send. Her PR team would kill her. The board would question her judgment. But for the first time in years, she didn't care what it cost. She hit send. If this story reminds you of someone you wronged, or someone who wronged you, share it with them. Sometimes the hardest conversations are the ones we need most. 2 days later, she got a response. Not from Martin. From his daughter. Ms. Donovan. My name is Sophie Hayes. My father passed away 4 months ago. He had cancer. It came fast. Before he died, he asked me to make sure you got that envelope. He said it mattered. He also said you were one of the kindest people he ever worked for, even if you didn't know it. He told me about the night you stayed late and talked to him about your father. He said it reminded him that powerful people are still just people. Thank you for trying to find him. He would have liked that. Sophie. Claire read it 3 times. Then she did something she'd never done. She closed her laptop, left the office at 5 p.m., and went to a flower shop. She found Martin's grave in a quiet cemetery outside the city. She knelt, placed the flowers, and spoke. I'm sorry I didn't fight harder for you. I'm sorry I let fear make my decisions. You deserve better. And I'm going to make sure no one else is treated the way I treated you. The wind moved through the trees. She stayed until the sun set. Claire returned to work the next week. But she was different. She started a fund in Martin's name for employees facing hardship. She revised the company's termination policies. She put a photo on her desk. It was the post-it note Martin had saved from one of her jokes. A reminder that people aren't disposable, that forgiveness is a gift, and that sometimes the people we overlook are the ones who see us most clearly. Thank you for spending this time with Tales of the Fireplace. If this story moved you, like and subscribe. Your support helps us keep telling stories that matter. What part of this story stayed with you the most? Let me know in the comments.